up, you guys? It's Lexi DIY and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now today you might be a little bit confused because last week we did part 1 of Dustin's office renovation and today we are not doing part 2. We're actually jumping in to a much bigger project because time just requires it. There's a lot of things that need to sit for a few days in this project, so I figured let's get started now since it's gonna take so long. And we also got orders finally, so we do have a moving date, which I'm not gonna share yet, but I'll do a whole separate video on that if you guys are interested. But we are doing the kitchen revamp renovation today. Now, you guys know that I brought my kitchen a really long way, but it was just a budget Band-Aid renovation. There are different things that I want to do to scale it up a little bit and get this house ready to sell. So part 1 of that is what we're going to be doing today. It's probably going to be in a few parts, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Okay, so we're in the kitchen. We all know and love the kitchen. The only issue is these countertops and that go into the backsplash. They look actually so good on camera. I'm gonna show a close-up here in just a second. And they were not meant to be like a forever thing, to really hold up that long, but we definitely took a little longer to get to actually doing something more permanent. I don't want to pay for new countertops, so we are going to use what's underneath. So basically I just started by taking everything off of the countertops, and you guys, this is one of the moments I need to be very honest with you. I fully regret putting these on. So yeah, glad we're doing this. So as you can see, some of them were very just easily falling off, and the rest of them were ridiculously hard to get up. It probably took me at least 5 to 7 hours just to get these off of the countertop. Highly do not recommend. Do not recommend. But I tried every method. The hair dryer to try to heat up the adhesive, and although it kind of worked, it made the adhesive harder to get off of the countertop, and don't even get me started about even just getting it off. Hot mess. They were easy to come off the wall, but the countertop was just a different story. So I used a crowbar to try to get under there and a tile scraper as well, but honestly, this was the struggle. As you can see, there's a bunch of glue left over, and I tried so many methods, you guys, so many methods to get this glue off, and just like the tiles on the counter, it proved very difficult. So the first thing I tried was this Goo Gone kitchen degreaser, and I let that sit while I scraped off some more tile, and it did kind of work, but it definitely was not the best option. I also used a scrub daddy to clean it up, and a little scraper, which the scraper was definitely necessary. I definitely forgot to film on this camera me getting all the goo off the countertops, which was really a process. I will link my TikTok below. It's because my camera died and I had goo gone everywhere, and so I didn't want to touch my camera, and then I literally just was wow, I probably should have just washed my hands and filmed it. Anyway, all the goo is off the counter. I used Goo Gone, not the kitchen degreaser, the actual oil and spray. And as you can see, I essentially just scraped it off with a tile scraper. And now I am covering up the beautiful black cabinets because we're gonna paint this countertop. Initially, I really wanted to do concrete countertops, and who knows? If I don't absolutely love how these turn out, then I might still do it anyway. Who knows? Anyway, me and Dustin pulled out the oven, and then it was time to prime the countertops with a surface primer. I personally use the 123 Bullseye by Zinsser surface primer. Now, there are kits that you can buy for countertops to do marbling, but they're kind of expensive. They're $180, and I don't mind to spend money on the renovation, but I looked up what you use to do it, and I could get all of the stuff for less than $60. So I was let's just try it out, and if I don't like it, we're gonna do concrete. Anyway, I used my tiny little foam roller to apply it, and I'm not doing a super thick coat because I knew that I was going to end up doing more than one coat. I did not personally sand down my counters, but you could definitely do that as well, just to make the primer and paint stick a little bit better. And I just let this dry for around 2 to 3 hours before I went in with the second coat. So the second coat, you can see, makes it look a lot more opaque, but obviously we can't just leave this on the countertops. It looks so much better though, even just with the primer on it, like, not gonna lie. Now, a lot of people do this to make it look like marble. I'm kind of going for a really dramatic man-made quartz look with the deep veining. So the thing that I did after the primer coats had dried was I used an enamel-based paint. And I used the Rust-Oleum paint in satin white. And I just rolled that on, again, with my tiny little foam roller. Now, I do, in hindsight, wish I would have done 2 coats of this paint. I only did 1 coat because it requires, before recoat, that you let it fully cure for 24 hours. So, kind of time consuming, but yeah, I would have done a second coat in hindsight. Now I'm using the same enamel paint. This is just in the color aluminum, which is kind of a metallic-y gray color. You guys, this silver was busted. We had to stir her up a lot, but you know, it's okay. Then I was super nervous because I just started painting large veins on my countertop, and it was a really scary process, but I think that it turned out pretty good. Essentially, the technique that I'm using is going on it with the enamel-based paint with a paintbrush and then kind of softening it out with a damp sponge to make it look a little bit more realistic. Now, if you do this with less harsh veining and more like thin marble veining, it'll probably look a lot more realistic. But honestly, on camera and from, like, if you're not staring at it very up close, it does look realistic to what I was going for. So I am fairly happy with it. Like, I don't know. I really like it, but then I got a lot of comments on TikTok being really mean about it, so now I'm kind of second guessing. I don't know. What do you guys think? You know what? No, forget the haters. I really like how it turned out, and I'm not going to let other people's opinion of it deter me from liking what I like. So anyway, I used sponge paint brushes to fill everything in, but I did use like a high quality, like normal paintbrush to do the smaller lines and like the outlining of it. And I was just really careful to make sure it's going all in the same direction. Now in this video, you can see how silver it looks, metallic, and that's not what quartz looks like. It looks a little bit more matte. So even though I was liking how the veining was looking, I wasn't loving the sheen. So what I did was I mixed a little bit of the satin white with the aluminum, and it gave me a more matte gray, and I just sponged that right on top of the veining that we had already done. I really liked this much better, so I would recommend, if you're going to do a project like this, to start with a satin or you know, matte paint and not a shiny like metallic one, because it just didn't look real. It looked painted, right? So anyway, after that dried for another 24 hours, so we're at like 3 days into this project now, it was time to do the top coat, and I used polyacrylic, and I used the triple thick one. The first layer I did with a brush, and I did not like how it left streaks. So I would recommend doing it with a foam roller. I let it dry for 2 hours in between coats, and the second one you'll see that I am using my tiny foam roller and just like putting it on that way. The last coat that I did, I ended up actually pouring it directly out of the can so it was thicker, and then just spreading it around with the tiny foam roller. That is definitely my recommendation. That way you're getting a good thick layer, but that's where we're ending off today, and I will see you guys next week for the rest. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of today's video. I'm so excited with how it's turning out so far, and make sure to stay tuned because next week we are getting the new appliances and putting up the tile backsplash. I'm hoping that we'll be done and give the final kitchen reveal next week, but I guess we'll see because you guys know how these projects go. So it might be 2 more parts or only 1 more part. So we'll find out about that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell notification so that you never miss when I upload next, as well as follow me on all my other social medias if you happen to have them. They'll be linked here on the screen and in the description box below. But that's it for me today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!